What's up everyone, back for another beer review, and today is not only the continuation of Mixed Six Pack of the Month here on the channel, but it's also Wednesday, which of course means it's time for another Western New York Wednesday, and the beer I'm reviewing today comes from the Southern Tier Brewing Company, and they're out of Lakewood, New York, and this is their Nitro Chocolate Milkshake, and this is a part of their Blackwater Series. So they're calling this an Imperial Milk Stout that is brewed with chocolate, sea salt, vanilla beans, and with chocolate and vanilla flavors added. Comes in at 10% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed in time of review. This can is approximately 6 weeks old. So I've seen a couple of my good friends and viewers of the channel, Jeff, aka No Jinx, and Sadiq, check this one in on Untapped, and they both enjoyed it. Jeff enjoyed it, but said there was kind of like a weird bitterness on the back end, and Sadiq was happy with it, but he wasn't happy with the fact that there's only 9.6 fluid ounces of actual liquid in here. Because they don't use a widget, whatever, they force the nitro in here, and you lose a couple ounces of it, which is a bummer because this is a relatively expensive beer. We'll get to it at the end, but the fact that it's 9.6 fluid ounces instead of 12, kind of a bummer. So I totally get where Sadiq's coming from. I really like the Nitro S'mores, which was the first nitro beer in their Blackwater series. I think their first nitro beer that they released ever, and it was delicious. It was one of the best pastry beers I've had this year, so I'm hoping for good things from this one. The thing about this can is that, again, it's a small can. It says made with lactose. Obviously, it's a milk stout. And it says pour into your favorite glass or drink from this can. Unleash nitro. Well, we're going to pour it into the left-hand glass because, left-hand milk stout nitro. Come on, one of the best nitro beers, period. We're going to crack this one open, give it a pretty hefty pour, and we'll go from there. The fact that I saw this in the mixed six-pack was pretty cool, I thought, anyway. Now, I've let this sit out of the fridge for almost a half an hour to kind of, hopefully warm up a little bit, get a little bit better flavor. This might take a while, honestly. Now, look at that. It's cascading. I'll hold it up to the glass here. I don't know if you guys will see the cascading effect. You should, though. It's not as pronounced as, say, a Guinness or whatever, but yeah, that's looking beautiful as it cascades. Has this really deep brown color. It's not straight on black. It's going to come off as pitch black on camera. I know how my camera is. I say that so many times, like, oh, it's a deep brown. And I look back on the review, and I'm like, yeah, no, that looks black. So probably going to look black. Currently has about a three and a half finger mocha colored head. Super creamy looking. It's a nitro beer. I mean, this is what nitro beers look like. And somebody has a dirt bike outside that sounds like absolute shit, but they're enjoying it, so have fun. Yeah, I don't know why I'm trying to swirl. It's a nitro head. It doesn't go anywhere. Anyway, I'm going to try to get a nose onto this one, but I don't know if I will because that's a huge head. I did not anticipate that being as big as it is, but you can already see like the lacing from the nitro. All right, anyway, I'm just flapping my gums for no reason. Let me get a nose. Yeah, it smells awesome. They call it chocolate milkshake. Yeah, it smells like a chocolate milkshake. It honestly smells like a chocolate milkshake. You know what it smells like? And this is going to make it sound like it's poor quality or low quality. I've only had it maybe a couple times in the last 10, 15 years because I really don't go there. But Arby's, their chocolate milkshakes are fantastic. I love them. Like, if I ever get a milkshake from Arby's, it is a chocolate one. I've only had them a couple times in the last, whatever, X amount of years. Probably, like I said, 10, 15 years. I don't go to Arby's much, but this smells like an Arby's chocolate milkshake. Make of that what you will. A little bit of vanilla in here. The sea salt, a little bit of salinity, not much. Yeah, it smells awesome. Man, it's so it's all the chocolate, and it's a sweeter, rich milk chocolate. It's not dark chocolate. It's not 50% cacao. This is all like crazy amounts of chocolate. Oh my God. I just want to sit here and smell this. I can't, and there's not much more I can get out of this. It's just all the chocolate you ever want. There's no hint of alcohol in here. It's chocolate, a little bit of salinity, smells like an Arby's milkshake, or probably just a really good milkshake in general. I'm not saying Arby's milkshakes are really good, but they are. I like Arby's milkshakes. Anyway, let's get into this one. Cheers. So first things first, the nose, definitely better than the taste. The taste, though, is good. It's not as sweet as the nose was indicating because, like I said, this smells like sweet, just the craziest sweet milk chocolate you could ever think of. But on the taste, it's sweet up front, And especially when I'm drinking, there's, you know, about a finger and a half of that creamy head. So when you're taking it in, it's almost like you are drinking like a hot chocolate or like you know, some kind of milkshake, like just the creaminess from the head itself. But as you're getting to the base of the beer, it has a sweeter, like dark chocolate vibe to it. And I can totally see where Jeff is coming from with that like bittering finish, because I have like a low to moderate bitterness on the back end, and it kind of has like a raw like cocoa powder, like you know, just a raw cocoa kind of. If you've ever eaten like an 80% cacao bar, it has that kind of like bitterness on the back end. It is a bit thin at 10%, but Nitro beers typically are thin for me. You know, outside of that creamy, thick head, like the actual base of the beer is probably like medium to higher side of medium body, which at 10% is thin. I think the Nitro S'mores, I also said the same thing. I think it was pretty thin as well. Mouthfeel is typically what you expect from a beer in a Nitro can. I mean, super soft, smooth, and creamy, like luxurious, just all the creaminess, fantastic. Like I said, the flavors though, pretty much sweet milk chocolate up front. As it passes through the palate, it kind of morphs into this sweeter dark chocolate, and then it finishes like a 70-80% cacao bar with a low to moderate bitterness. And it's actually a relatively dry beer on my palate. Finishes semi-dry. There is some residual sweetness because it is an overall sweeter beer, but this is not cloying. The Nitro S'mores was way sweeter than this for me, for my palate. And this is not overly complex. They're using vanilla beans, they're using vanilla. I'm getting hints of that accentuation to the beer of vanilla, a little bit of salinity underneath everything, like the third or fourth character. That lactose is probably just adding to the creaminess of the beer, not really getting a pronounced vanilla outside of just, like I said, the like on the sides of the tongue. This is really good though. 10%, not getting on the palate, a little bit in the chest. I can feel like the warmth of this one. This drink's probably like 8.5, so they are hiding the alcohol well. I will say this, the Nitro S'mores was better for me. I think that hit the nail on the head when it came to, here's a s'mores beer in a Nitro can. Yeah, totally. This one, Chocolate Milkshake, yes, I think they did a pretty good job with it. I do think that, and I didn't think I was going to say this. I didn't think I would say anything close to resembling what I'm about to say, but I think this could be a little bit sweeter for my palate. And again, I'm not a guy that is like my buddy Jeff, who just like hasn't met a sweet beer that he doesn't like. There are beers that are cloying for me. There are beers that are way too sweet, and I only want like 3 or 4 ounces. I'm going to easily drink this can. I could probably drink a couple of them. I think there's enough bitterness, enough dryness on the back end to balance it out, and I don't think the Nitro S'mores was like that one. So I think they did a pretty good job with it. I would like to see a little bit bigger of a body, and I would also like to see that sweetness of that chocolate carry on through the palate, where I'd want like a consistent milk chocolate, dark chocolate sweetness, as opposed to the forefront being sweeter chocolate and the back end being more of a bittering chocolate. Again, all my personal preference. I'd be curious to know what you guys think about it, but Nitro Chocolate Milkshake, a part of the Blackwater Series from Southern Tier, I'm going to give it a low 4.25 out of 5. I'm going to go 4.2 out of 5. I think most of my friends have given it around a 4.25. And I think that's appropriate. I couldn't see this getting lower than a 4 for most people. If you're going into it, if you're looking at me like Nitro Chocolate Milkshake, yeah. I can't see this being an amazing beer for a lot of people, but maybe it is. And that's the beautiful thing about palates and about reviews and everything. We all have different tastes. And, you know, I do enjoy this one. I think it could be a little bit better for me personally. So yeah, anyway, 4.2 out of 5 is a pretty damn good score. Price and availability. This one I got in the mixed 6-pack for $1.83, so that's a great deal here, almost like a Rajay deal. But as far as like the actual cost in my area, $13.99 a 4-pack. So you're talking $14 a 4-pack, which, you know, is just over $3.50 a can. You're talking, you know, a little bit more, but, you know, at the same time, no, exactly. Why can't I do math lately? What the hell? That's the second time I did a $14 4-pack, and I'm like, $3.50 times 2 is 7, and the times it by 2 is 14. It's 13. I can't do math. And I used to be great at math, and then I'm doing these reviews, and my math is terrible. Anyway, $13.99 4-pack, $3.50 a can. For 9.6 ounces of this, I think it's fair value, but I would want to see 12 ounces of this, or maybe it be more of like the $12 a 4-pack. But again, it's a 10% Nitro Chocolate Milkshake beer. For $14 a 4-pack, I'm okay with paying it. But yeah, anyway, the availability is Southern Tier. You see Southern Tier, you're probably going to see this beer at some point, because I think this is, you know, it's part of the Blackwater Series, probably is going to get everywhere. Let's say this, if you've seen the s'mores beer from them, the Nitro S'mores beer, you will see this one at some point, because it took a little bit while. It's funny. Jeff and Sadiq, Jeff lives, I believe, in Michigan, Sadiq down in the south, I believe, in Georgia. I'm in New York, literally an hour and a half from the brewery, and both of those guys saw this beer like a week before I did. distribution. It's beautiful. Anyway, appreciate everybody stopping by for another mixed six-pack theme beer review. Only a couple more left. And also, thanks for stopping by another Western New York Wednesday. We're going to do a double dip later tonight. You should see another beer review. I think I'm doing Loganberry Wit from Resurgence. If not, then I'm a liar. But this will be like the last double dip Western New York Wednesday for a while. I just did it because I had a lot of Western New York Wednesday beers I wanted to do in addition to the mixed six-pack theme beer month. So yeah, it'll be the last double dip. But this one's going a little bit long, but let me just say that this is a good beer. I do enjoy it, but I want to hear from you guys if you had this one, because I'd be curious about everyone else's opinion. There's some mixed feedback on the s'mores beer. I loved it. A lot of my friends loved it. A couple people absolutely hated it. So that's how beer is. That's how it'll probably always be. Appreciate everybody stopping by. Oh yeah, 10%, like I said. Can't really tell it's 10% on the palate. There is a warming. Drinks like 8 or 8.5%. So if you're kind of afraid of this from like being too, dare I say, hot or warm or too much of an alcohol stringency, I think you're fine. At least that's my opinion. Anyway, cheers.